What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video I want to talk about if Rocksteady's game will steal the spotlight from the new Batman game when it's announced. So I'm going to have a discussion once again on when these games are announced and kind of the intricacies of them, right? Which one is going to kind of win out, what Warner Bros. Overall plan could be. Really quickly, before I jump into this video, though, I want to make notice of our Discord channel. We've had it for a while. A lot of you guys have joined recently. It's been really awesome to see. We're growing very fast over there. So if you guys want to check it out, it'll be in the description below. A lot of people in the Arkham, in the Rocksteady, in the Harry Potter, all this kind of stuff, a lot of you guys have joined. So if you guys want to do that, it's in the description. So, okay, let's jump into this video now. So we have Rocksteady's game, right? And I think one of the reasons why I'm almost kind of afraid of it potentially stealing the spotlight, the thunder, whatever phrase you want to use, is because of the mystery. I mean, there is also the fact that Rocksteady is just bigger, right? They're more well-known. They've put out more games, right? Stuff like that. But the fact that this game has been next to, there's no talk about it, right? There's no talk at all about it. And it's because, for the most part, well, there's actually a couple of reasons. One, Rocksteady has stayed out of the spotlight as much as possible, right? They, unlike Warner Bros. Montreal, with giving teasers and giving these different things throughout the many years and then going dark and then all of the reports of canceled games and stuff like that. I mean, Rocksteady has had that, right? The Superman game, and we know they were working on a couple different things. We know that, but beyond that, they've pretty much stayed out of the spotlight, right? They've hid in their bat cave, and they've done a really good job at that, where nobody really talks about them. The second reason is because Warner Bros. Montreal gets all the talk, right? Because that game was always, has always been, all the words you want to use, would have been the game that comes out first, and I think still will be, right? So again, even in the talk of the studios and what they're doing internally, Warner Bros. Montreal, I mean, wins out, if that's a good phrase to use for the situation. I don't know if it's actually a good thing in this situation, but Warner Bros. Montreal has won out because of those reasons, okay? Now, the question I have, and we've asked it a couple different times, but I really want to get into it in this video, is, so what happens when these games are announced? I've talked about in the past what I think we should expect to see from all these games, right? What do I expect to see from the Batman game? That one is the most. So a trailer, maybe a gameplay presentation. Again, depends on how Warner Bros. Does it. I would prefer that they just do it all at once, like in their online show. But say they take an entire day to do this. Do they do a 30, 40, 50-minute online show, and then they have interviews with the developers? They set up things internally. We saw that, right? We saw that even with Assassin's Creed when the trailer came out. Now, I have mentioned this before. Trailer came out, right? And then they interviewed the social media manager, the PR. They interviewed the directors of Assassin's Creed, and they went through the trailer, and it was 18 minutes long, and I watched the whole thing. It was interesting. It was fun because they're the ones that are they're the visionaries, right? They're the ones who made this game, obviously with the help of so many people, but we got a lot of interesting tidbits on that trailer from them. Now, I would like to see that from the Batman game with gameplay. I want gameplay as well, especially if the game comes out this fall. I think you definitely need something. You need more than just a trailer. So we talked about that. I talked about Harry Potter, and basically them doing the same thing as Assassin's Creed. Rocksteady also, I think, honestly, the same thing. You show a trailer. If it's Justice League, it's Justice League. If it's Suicide Squad, it's Suicide Squad. Do that. You probably aren't going to show anything else because the game isn't going to release for a full year. I would assume, I mean, these are just my predictions, right? You got to take everything I say. I know people run with things, but you got to take it all with a grain of salt. If you guys don't agree, it's completely cool. No problems. No problems if you guys don't agree. But I do think this game is around a year out. I really do. So I don't think we're going to get to see all that much stuff on it. Again, the Assassin's Creed thing really was a good idea, and that's happened before. Games have done that before, but more, in recent memory. It's good to use the recent things that have happened in the gaming industry to talk about the future. That Assassin's Creed thing was how they did Valhalla was a good, not the inside Xbox gameplay. That is a bad example of how to do something. You say that, you show that to somebody to say, don't do something like this. But the week before, when they announced the trailer, when they had the that guy, when he was drawing all of them, that was incredible. That was absolutely incredible. Very smart. People were super pumped. So again, those are things that you try and implement in the future. Now the question is, if Rocksteady does the trailer, and then they do, say, even a developer commentary of it, let's call it that, afterwards, does that steal the spotlight from Batman? in the past, we've talked about it a little bit. I would say my opinion on it right now is I feel like it's going to steal the spotlight more than people think and more than I probably would have thought a while ago. I think we're at a point where, and I'm not, that does not, by the way, that is not me saying that the Batman game is going to be terrible, that there's going to be no interest in it, anything like that. No, I think the excitement for these games is literally going to be through the roof. Everyone, to be honest with you, even if they just announced Batman, Rocksteady, Harry Potter, if that's it, it's still, I mean, those are 3 games that are bigger than I would argue any game over the past 6 months that we've gotten announced. Maybe Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you can maybe argue that's a little bit bigger, but like these games are the top of the list. These games are the biggest AAA games that you get. Now, maybe they don't come out. When they come out, are they going to be like terrible? Are they going to be good? That obviously is a separate question, a separate discussion. But in terms of the announcement power of how big these games are, they are definitely at the top. They're at the top with like a Halo. They're at the top with any like the first party studios of Sony, right? They're at the top there. So I think all of them are going to be very, very big. But the question is, does Rocksteady's game take the spotlight away from Batman? Do we see Then I think honestly, order is important. Order meaning like the order of event, like the order that they take place in. So if you do an online event, and what do? What's the order? Do you do Batman first, Rocksteady last? Do you do Harry Potter last? Do you do? I think you probably bookend them where you do like a beginning and end with the 2 DC ones. I don't really think you should put them back to back. I feel like even myself, if you were to be watching this in real time, right, the online showcase, and then you see the Batman game, and then that's done, it's a 3-minute trailer, let's say, and then they jump right into Rocksteady's thing, you have 0 time to process what you just saw from Batman, and then Rocksteady. Now, obviously, I get it. Like you can go back and rewatch it, and I am sure they will be rewatched, right? And there'll be analysis, and I'll obviously analyze the stuff, and we'll have a ton of discussions here as well. Like I get it. I understand it. But think of the general population. You get one thing, then you get another. You can only concentrate on so many things at once. I know I'm a good example of that. I really can't. I can't multitask very well, right? I do one thing. I can only really do one thing at a time. So even me, I would kind of like a slight break. That's even why I think it would be cool to do all of it in the online show. Give us the trailer and then maybe show us an extended gameplay thing so we get to kind of like marinate on that trailer, and we also get the gameplay, and we also get to just go along with them for the gameplay of Batman. And then again, because that's important, because if you get more for Batman, I think that helps. Again, I get it. Maybe I'm framing it as like a fight between these 3. I do, in a way, think there is a fight because you don't want them hurting each other, but it's like an inadvertent fight. Like they're not actually, I'm not rooting for them to hurt each other. I'm not rooting for Warner Bros. To like make a mistake and have them, again, like literally get in each other's way. I'm just saying that's a possibility that could happen by accident, not even planned. It's not like Warner Bros. Maybe even thinks of it, but I think it could happen. And at the end of the day, I want to see as much as I can on all of these games, right? All 3 of these games, but I don't want them to hurt each other. Now, at the end of the day, you could also say, well, does it really matter? Because if we get this announcement, say, middle to end of June, we get it, that's one day, but then over the coming months, and that is, I will give you that. That's, I think, one of the biggest things that it's an interesting discussion. I think I've had fun recording this video so far, but it is kind of only talking about the first day, maybe even the first week, because when you really think about it, as the months go on, throughout mainly the summer, right? It's mainly the summer. As those weeks and months go on, the talk will go, completely focused on Batman. It really won't go on Rocksteady, because you see that all the time. When there's games announced years away, no matter how many years, if it's 1 year, if it's 2 years, if it's 3 years, when you get that, games go silent. They just do. That's just generally what happens. Now, we've seen kind of the reverse of that as well, where we've seen teasers obviously for Warner Bros. Montreal, and then they go silent. But no, that is what happens. Think about, a game like Final Fantasy VII, right? I'm playing that game right now. I'm adoring it. I absolutely love that game. By the time you guys watch it, I actually have beaten the game. But think about how long it was that game got announced, and then how many times they went completely dark. Now, again, that's a exaggerated one, right? Because they announced it so long ago. There's so so many years in between, but every game does it. Literally every game. You get the announcement, they do go dark, and then eventually they will pick up the marketing. So the good news with Batman, Warner Bros. Montreal's game, is we get the announcement, and then really the marketing starts right then and there, because literally the game comes out in 4-ish months after it gets announced. Same thing you saw again with like Mortal Kombat. Yes, will there be maybe a couple dark months where there's nothing? It's possible. It's possible the game gets announced in June, there's nothing in July, but then they pick up in August. I think that's something that's not only possible, but actually kind of likely. Look at the stuff that we've seen for a lot of other games. Look at like Rockstar games. Rockstar does that, right? They'll normally announce their games at E3, and then they'll go dark, but then like August and September, they will pick up and they'll start doing like developer diaries, stuff like that. The Last of Us Part 2, yeah, the leaks are a bad example, but even that, look at this last month. They're going to do a video every single week talking about the game. So, I mean, they go silent sometimes, and then they kind of come back and pick up things, right? That's just generally how the game industry works. So, yes, you could say, well, it's all for nothing. But I do think first impressions are important, and if you're so focused on Rocksteady, you're not focused on Batman, ultimately, I want Batman to do good. I'm afraid that other games are going to hurt Batman, compiled with the mistakes Warner Bros. Montreal has made, compiled with do people like recognize that it comes from Origins and it's not Rocksteady making and all that kind of stuff? Like, will there be confusion? Will there be some sort of like distrust between them? I don't want that. Ultimately, I don't want that. And I think it's just interesting to look at what could happen, how these other games may impact them. I do think there is something there. I really do. Again, could it really only affect the game for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? I think so. I really do, because I think as the months go on, you're going to see just like solely Batman being pushed, and Rocksteady's game will go silent. And then I bet you when Batman comes out, give it a little bit more time, maybe around the Game Awards, we'll see a full-on push for Rocksteady's game. Or Harry Potter, whichever one we kind of like can sense like will come first, that'll be the next one pushed. Also, again, like we've talked about, Harry Potter, that one maybe can be pushed a little bit because it is differently. I'm not saying that they can literally only do one thing at a time. We know Warner Bros. Is publishing the Lego Star Wars game, right? So clearly they will push that while pushing Batman, but they're not for the same audience. They're completely separate. I wonder if Harry Potter is the same thing. Can you push Harry Potter while pushing Batman? Can you push Harry Potter while pushing Rocksteady's game? I think it's possible. I also think that is just a massive game, and that could be a problem, but ultimately we'll have to see. So guys, let me know in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think Rocksteady's game will steal the spotlight from Batman? We didn't also even say, what if Rocksteady's game just generally looks so much better? That's a thing that really immediately you would draw eyes on it, right? If the game is just immediately better, looking better, like you have a better feel on it. So that is definitely something to consider as well. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when these videos go up. And thank you so much for watching, guys. I do a video on Rocksteady's game every couple weeks. Obviously, if anything breaks or anything happens Rocksteady related, or really anything Warner Bros. Related, right, I'll absolutely cover it, okay? Thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next video.